You know that moment, when everything you thought was solid suddenly feels like quicksand beneath your feet. It started with a call. Just one call. My name's Marcus, I'm 39, and until 2 weeks ago I thought I had the kind of marriage other people envied. My wife, Serena, and I had been together for 14 years, married for 11, and we had a daughter, Kayla, who just turned 9. We had a routine, a life, memories layered like sediment in a calm river. But the thing about rivers is, sometimes there's something sharp beneath the surface, and when the water dries up, the truth cuts you wide open. It was a Friday. I was at work, half listening to an endless Zoom meeting about quarterly targets when I got a call from my brother Eric. We hadn't talked much lately. He'd been distant, weird even, ever since he got back from a 6-month work trip overseas. "Hey man," he said, his voice clipped. "You got a second?" I muted my mic. "Yeah, what's up?" There was a pause. Then he exhaled. "Look, I'm not proud of this, but you deserve to know. I can't carry it anymore." I sat up straighter, instinctively knowing my life was about to split in two. "No what?" "Serena," he said. She was seeing someone while I was away. I don't know if it's still going on, but it started before I left. And I think it might have been more than one guy. I blinked, laughed, nervously. "You serious? Why are you even telling me this?" "Because one of them was me." I swear my soul left my body. I didn't speak. Couldn't. Not for a full minute. "You what?" He rushed on like he had to dump the confession before he lost the nerve. "It was one time. We were both drunk. She said you hadn't touched her in months. I thought it was a mistake, but when I got back, I saw her messaging someone else. Different guy. I couldn't do it anymore. She's lying to you, Marcus. And not just about me." I hung up. Couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I was shaking. I walked out of that meeting, out of that building, and into my car like I was on autopilot. I didn't go home. I didn't go to the gym or to a bar. I drove to the parking lot behind Serena's job and waited. I watched her walk out at 4:55 sharp, laughing with her coworker, Daryl. I remembered that name. She used to bring it up casually. "Daryl thinks my new haircut's cute. Daryl's bringing donuts again tomorrow." I never thought anything of it. I trusted her. God, I trusted her. When she got into her car, I followed her. She didn't go straight home. She drove 30 minutes north, out past the suburbs, until she pulled into a townhouse complex, parked, and just sat there. 5 minutes later, Daryl's car pulled in behind her. He got out. She got out. They didn't hug. They didn't kiss. They just walked inside together. Like it was normal. Like it was routine. I didn't move. I just sat there, my hands glued to the steering wheel, heart pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. After 20 minutes, I started the car and drove off. I didn't know what to do. I needed proof. I needed a plan. I needed to protect Kayla. Because if Serena was capable of this, then who the hell was I married to? I didn't sleep that night. I stayed up rereading every text thread we ever had. I looked at old photos, ones I once thought showed a happy family, a loving couple. But now, all I could see were lies stretched across a timeline. By Sunday, I had a tracker on her car, keyloggers on her devices, and a fake profile set up on the same gym app she used. I was going to find out everything. I wasn't going to confront her until I had the full story. But then something unexpected happened. That night, my daughter Kayla came into my office with a crumpled piece of paper. "This was in Mommy's purse," she said innocently. "It looks like a letter." I unfolded it slowly. It was a printed email. From a man named Ben. "Counting the days until I can have you to myself again." It read, "You said the divorce papers were almost ready. I trust you." My stomach dropped. Divorce? She hadn't said a word to me. And who the hell was Ben? I sat there with the letter in my hands like it was made of fire, burning through every memory I'd ever had with Serena. Ben. I didn't know a Ben. Not a coworker. Not a family friend. Not a guy she'd ever casually mentioned. That made it worse. This wasn't someone in our circle. This was a compartmentalized secret life. I turned the paper over, no return email, no other clues. But the sentence that gutted me the most was this. You said the divorce papers were almost ready. Divorce. She was planning to leave me. She had a whole future mapped out with someone else while I was still dropping off Kayla at school. Cooking Sunday waffles, pretending we were still in love. I didn't say a word to Serena that night. I tucked the letter in a book on my shelf and acted normal. We watched a show. She scrolled her phone. I kept glancing at her hands, at the ring I bought her, the one she still wore. It felt like watching someone wear a costume of the woman I married. The next morning I called Eric. He didn't answer. I didn't blame him. I wasn't ready to talk to him either. I spent the day digging credit card statements, emails, location history. If she was sloppy enough to leave that letter in her purse, there had to be more. And there was. She'd been meeting Ben at a boutique hotel on the edge of town every other Thursday. Always under the name Sandra Bell. That wasn't even close to her name. How long had she been doing this? The receipts went back 6 months. 6. I found a burner phone hidden in the zipper pouch of her gym bag. Texts. Photos. Him. The guy was maybe 45, looked like he stepped out of a catalog for middle-aged wine-tasting bachelors. Their messages made me sick. How she called him my real life. How she told him Kayla was more his daughter than mine. That was the one that broke me. I threw up. I actually bent over the sink and hurled. I didn't even feel it coming. That's what betrayal does. It crawls inside you and poisons every corner until your body rejects the truth like a virus. The next part I'm not proud of. I messaged Ben. I used her burner. I told him the papers are delayed, but I still want you. He responded in seconds. Come away with me this weekend. I booked a cabin. Just us. I want you out of there. That was the moment it all shifted. I wasn't just heartbroken, I was furious. Furious that she was playing house with me while building another one behind my back. Furious that Eric, my own brother, was just one chapter in a much longer book of lies. Furious that she was going to walk out with half of everything, and maybe even take Kayla, and I wouldn't even see it coming. But I wasn't going to let that happen. I spent the next 48 hours preparing. I spoke with a lawyer, froze our joint account, pulled security footage from the house system I secretly installed the year before. She never knew I'd set it up after we had a scare with a break-in down the street. It wasn't just for burglars. Part of me must have already known. And there it was, 2 weeks ago, Serena letting Ben into the house. Not just the hotel. Not just neutral ground. Our home. I scrubbed through the footage in disbelief as I watched them kiss in our kitchen, laugh on our couch, and then, God, walk into our bedroom. That night I lay next to her, pretending to sleep, while every part of me screamed. The only reason I didn't confront her then was Kayla. I needed to be smart. I needed leverage. On Saturday, Serena said she was going to visit her cousin in upstate Jersey. I knew it was the cabin weekend. I said nothing. I hugged her, told her to drive safe. She smiled like everything was fine, like she wasn't about to vanish into the woods with a man who thought he was getting my wife. She left at noon. By 3 p.m., I was already on the road, following the GPS ping from her phone. And here's where everything went completely sideways. When I pulled into the remote driveway of the rental cabin, I expected to catch them together. But there was only one car. Ben's. Serena was nowhere in sight. And Ben? He was sprawled out on the floor inside, bleeding. Unconscious. Maybe worse. I froze. My first instinct was to run. Just turn around and get the hell out of there. But something, call it panic, call it instinct, pushed me forward. The cabin door was ajar, and Ben was inside, lying motionless on the hardwood floor, his shirt soaked in blood near his side. I stepped in cautiously, heart slamming in my chest, checking to make sure no one else was there. I didn't see Serena. No sign of a struggle beyond an overturned chair, a wine glass shattered by the wall, and Ben groaning softly. He wasn't dead. Not yet. I knelt beside him and said his name, barely a whisper. His eyelids fluttered. She said you'd come, he mumbled. My blood ran cold. Where is she? I asked. His hand moved weakly toward the fireplace. I followed his gesture, and that's when I saw it. An envelope, neatly placed on the mantel, my name scrawled across the front. I opened it with shaking fingers. There were just 4 words, I did what I had to. No explanation. No apology. Nothing. I backed away, completely lost, and grabbed my phone to call 911. Then I stopped. If I called, what would I say? That I followed my cheating wife to a cabin in the woods and found her lover bleeding on the floor? That I had surveillance, a burner phone, fake texts, and an unstable motive? I'd look like the jealous husband snapping over an affair. I wiped every surface I touched, backed out of the cabin, and drove until I could barely see the road. I stopped at a gas station 30 miles away and waited. I figured someone would find him. That was Saturday. On Sunday morning, Serena came back. I was already at the kitchen table, waiting. She walked in like nothing happened, dropped her bag at the door, and kissed my cheek. "Hey babe, miss me?" I looked her in the eyes. Calm, collected. "How was your cousin?" She blinked. "Oh, good. She's thinking about moving. We spent the weekend just talking about stuff. Real chill." I nodded, biting my tongue so hard I tasted blood. She didn't ask about my weekend. Didn't notice that I hadn't slept, that I hadn't moved, that I hadn't even pretended to be normal. Nothing. That night, the local news reported a man had been found in a remote cabin, stabbed but alive. No witnesses. No suspect. No clue what happened. Just a first name, Ben. I turned to Serena. "Did you hear about that guy on the news?" Her expression didn't change. "Nope. Haven't really been on my phone today." I knew she was lying, but she was good at it. Too good. The next few days were a blur. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't look at her without feeling a strange mix of rage, fear, and something even worse, confusion. Who was this woman? And what was her endgame? On Thursday, everything cracked open. A letter arrived. Not emailed, not handed to me. A physical, handwritten letter addressed to Serena but sent to my office. My assistant, confused, handed it to me. I opened it in my car. It was from a woman named Andrea. "Serena, I'm sorry, but I can't protect you anymore," it started. "You told me he was abusive, but now I'm not so sure. What you did to Ben. I can't lie for you. The police came by. I didn't tell them anything yet. But if they come again, I have to say something." My world flipped upside down. Serena had told people I was abusive? Was that her plan, to frame me? Was that why Ben said she said you'd come? Had she set this up from the start? I called Andrea using the number on the letter. She didn't answer. I drove home. Serena was in the living room scrolling her phone. I sat down across from her and dropped the letter onto the table. She stared at it, then up at me. "You weren't supposed to see that," she said, her voice flat. No fear. No shame. Just calm, calculated distance. "What are you doing?" I asked. "What is all this?" She folded her arms, leaned back. "I was going to leave you, Marcus. But I needed to make sure Kayla stayed with me. I needed the judge to believe I had a reason." "So you made me the villain?" She didn't answer. Just stared. Cold. Like I was a stranger. "And Ben?" I asked. "What did you do to him?" She shrugged. He pushed. I pushed back. That's when I realized this wasn't a woman who made a mistake. This was someone playing chess while I was playing checkers. Serena wasn't just cheating. She was trying to erase me. And then she said it. "You have two choices. You keep quiet, play the happy husband until the divorce goes through. Or I tell the cops you were there that night. That you hurt him. That this was all about revenge." I stared at her, stunned. "You think they'll believe you?" She smirked. "I've been preparing for months. Ask Andrea. Ask Eric. Ask Kayla." "You dragged Kayla into this?" I asked, my voice cracking. "She's a kid." Serena stood up slowly. "She's my kid. And she knows Daddy gets mad sometimes." My heart stopped. She was building a narrative. A full-blown character assassination. She was setting me up. I stared at Serena, her words still echoing in my ears like a courtroom verdict. "She's my kid. And she knows Daddy gets mad sometimes." She wasn't just trying to leave me. She was rewriting me, turning me into the monster in the story she wanted to tell. And the terrifying thing? She'd been planting the seeds for months. Maybe longer. That's when I knew I had to do something I never thought I'd do. I texted Eric. One line. "We need to talk. Now." He didn't respond. Not for hours. When he finally did, it wasn't a text. It was a knock on my back door. Midnight. He looked like hell, sunken eyes, wiry beard, nervous energy bouncing off him like static. He stepped inside, glanced around like Serena might be lurking in the shadows. "She's asleep," I said. "Or pretending to be." He didn't sit. Just rubbed the back of his neck, then finally spoke. "You were right not to trust her." I folded my arms. "Why now?" Why come here? He pulled out his phone and opened his voice memos. You should hear this. He pressed play. It was Serena's voice. Calm. Smirking. Venom wrapped in velvet. He's too distracted to notice anything. It'll be easier once you're back in town. The more unstable he looks, the better this goes for us. Eric stopped the recording. She sent that 2 months ago. I didn't know what to do with it. I've been a coward. What was the plan? I asked, my voice low. Just lay it all out. I can take it. He sat then. Finally. It started as just messing around. We both knew it was wrong. I thought it was a one-time thing. But she made it feel like more. Told me you were neglecting her. That you were obsessed with work. That you'd shut down emotionally. I bought it. He shook his head, disgusted. But then she started talking about leverage. About custody. About how if I helped her build a case, she'd make sure I got compensated. Compensated? I nearly spat the word. What, money? Property? She promised me part of the settlement. Told me she was going after everything. That you wouldn't see it coming. And Ben? I asked. Where does he fit in? Eric looked up, pain behind his eyes. I didn't know about him until last week. She kept him a secret even from me. I confronted her. She said he was just a distraction. That she needed someone else in the mix, someone to frame if you didn't take the bait. I blinked. She was going to pin it all on him? Eric nodded. But he got too clingy. Started talking about going public. That's when she set up the cabin. Told him she'd come clean. But I think she snapped. Or maybe she planned to hurt him all along. I don't know. You're still leaving something out, I said. He didn't answer. Just looked down. What is it, Eric? He exhaled sharply. Kayla might not be yours. The words hit harder than any punch I'd ever taken. What the hell are you saying? She told me after the first time years ago she wasn't sure. She never got a paternity test. She just acted like it didn't matter. But when you started talking about Will's inheritance, she panicked. Said she couldn't risk you finding out. I stood, fists clenched. Get out. Marcus, I said get out. He hesitated, then nodded. He left without another word. I locked the door behind him and slid down to the floor, heart pounding so loud it was all I could hear. If Kayla wasn't mine, if Serena had lied about that too, then who was I even fighting for? That night, I did something I'd promised myself I wouldn't. I took one of Kayla's toothbrushes. Sent it in with mine. Overnight paternity test. I needed to know. No more assumptions. No more hoping. Just truth, as brutal as it might be. 2 days later, I got the results. I stared at the email for a full 5 minutes before opening it. The words punched the air out of my lungs. Probability of paternity, 0%. She wasn't mine. Not biologically. But she still called me Dad. I taught her to ride a bike. Stayed up all night when she had the flu. She drew Father's Day cards with my face on them. I wiped my eyes. Then I printed the results, slid them into an envelope and left them on Serena's pillow. When she saw it, her mask cracked. Just for a second. Enough to show me the real Serena, cold, calculating, and suddenly very, very nervous. What is this? She asked. Truth, I said. Your version's got too many edits. She didn't speak. Just stared. And then, without warning, she laughed. You think this changes anything? I still have the upper hand. No, I said. Not anymore. I lifted my phone and played the recording Eric had given me. Her face drained. You recorded me? He did, I said. And that's not all. I pulled up a folder of photos, receipts, footage. I've got your hotel trips. The burner phone texts. The cabin footage. All of it. She went still. Then stepped forward, voice low. If you go to the police, Marcus, you know what I'll say. You came to the cabin. You found Ben. You left him bleeding. I did. And you know what? I leaned in. I also left fingerprints. So if this goes nuclear, we both go down. She stared at me for a long time. Then whispered, you wouldn't survive it. Maybe not, I said. But I won't let you win. And that's when the doorbell rang. Serena flinched. I checked my phone. 6 p.m. sharp. Just like I planned. Who is it? She asked. I smiled. That would be Detective Ruiz. He's got a few questions for you. Serena stood frozen in place as Detective Ruiz stepped through the front door, his badge glinting in the fading light. He was calm. Polite. Too polite. Mrs. Hartman, he said with a nod, mind if we ask you a few questions regarding an incident upstate? She didn't move. Didn't blink. Just offered a tight-lipped smile like she was playing hostess at some dinner party. Of course, Detective. Though I'm not sure how I can help. I watched the performance unfold with silent disbelief. Even now, she was smooth. Controlled. A lifetime of practice. Ruiz motioned for her to sit. She didn't hesitate. I stayed standing, arms crossed, adrenaline pumping through my veins like fire. "We're looking into an incident involving a Mr. Benjamin Carter," Ruiz began, flipping open a small notepad. "You know him, yes?" Serena didn't flinch. "He's an acquaintance. We met at a work event. I haven't seen him in months." "That's strange," Ruiz said, his tone casual. "His phone records show frequent contact between the two of you. Multiple texts, calls, photos." Her smile wavered. "We were friendly, but I stopped responding when he became inappropriate." I clenched my fists. I wanted to scream, wanted to throw every printed lie in her face. But I stayed silent. Ruiz leaned back in his chair. "He's pressing charges. Assault. Attempted murder." That got her. Her eyes widened just a fraction. "A micro-twitch." "What? That's absurd. He has a recording. You two arguing. You threatening him. Then nothing. 30 minutes later, he's found bleeding. Alone. That doesn't prove anything," she snapped. "He's unstable. Obsessive. He made things up." "We'll see," Ruiz said calmly. "We've issued a warrant for your devices. You're not under arrest yet, but we need full cooperation moving forward." He rose, gave me a polite nod, and left without another word. The silence that followed was suffocating. Serena stood slowly, her smile now completely gone. "You think you've won," she said. "This isn't over." "It is," I said. "I'm done playing defense." "No, you're not," she whispered. "Because you don't know the full story." I laughed bitterly. "There's more. You should check your dad's voicemail," she said, eyes gleaming. "Before he passed, he called me. A few times." My blood turned to ice. "Why?" She tilted her head. "Ask him." "Oh wait, you can't. But I can show you the recordings." "He didn't trust you, Marcus. Not with Kayla. Not with the business. He told me things. Things I could still use if I wanted to. That night, I did something reckless. I broke into the fireproof box in our closet where Serena kept her old phones. I found the one she used 3 years ago before she got a new number. I charged it. Waited. And there they were. For voicemails. From my father. Dated just 3 weeks before he died. My hands trembled as I played the first one. "Serena, I need to talk to you. Marcus doesn't know. About the will? About the business account. You're the only one I trust with this." The second one was worse. "He's not ready. He's not stable. You know it. He lashes out. Keeps things bottled up. If anything happens to me, promise me you'll protect Kayla." The third was more desperate. The fourth was silent. Just breathing. I sat on the floor, surrounded by memories that suddenly meant nothing. I didn't even know my own father in the end. Serena had gotten to him. Manipulated him. Just like she did to everyone else. I felt like a ghost in my own life. By the next morning, things moved fast. Police subpoenaed her messages. My lawyer filed for emergency custody. And then something unexpected happened. Eric came forward. To the police. To the media. He gave them everything. The recording, the messages. A full confession. "I was used," he said on camera. "But I still helped her. And I need to make it right." That cracked the case open. Serena was arrested that afternoon. No cuffs. No public drama. Just escorted quietly from our home, her eyes locked on mine as she passed, cold and hollow. Kayla was at school when it happened. I told her Serena was going on a trip. She asked if she'd be back soon. I couldn't lie. "I don't know, sweetie. But I'm here. Always." That night, I sat in the quiet. No Serena. No Eric. No more pretending. And that's when I got the final blow. A letter. From a lawyer I didn't know. It was dated 6 years ago. From my father. A separate will. A trust. Made in secret. Not naming me as beneficiary. Not Serena. Not Eric. It was in Kayla's name. But the trustee? My father never trusted me to manage it. He chose someone else. Andrea. Serena's friend. Her alibi. The woman who backed out at the last minute. I was never the heir. Never the intended protector. Just a placeholder. A man living someone else's dream. I stared at the paper, everything unraveling all over again. And then a knock at the door. When I opened it, Andrea was standing there. Pale. Nervous. Holding something in her hand. "There's more you don't know," she said quietly. "About your father. About Kayla. About Serena's real plan. Can I come in?" Andrea stepped into my house like a ghost returning to a graveyard. She looked older than I remembered, grayer, smaller. She didn't sit right away. Just stood by the fireplace, clutching a thick yellow envelope in her hands. "I should have come sooner," she said. "But I was scared. And honestly, I didn't know who to believe anymore." "Believe what?" I asked, already exhausted by the weight of half-truths and manipulations. "Your father," she said. He wasn't the man you think he was. And neither was Serena. She placed the envelope on the table and slid it toward me. It's all in here. Letters. Financials. A copy of a paternity test. I froze. Wait, another one? She nodded. Your father had one done. Quietly. He didn't trust Serena. And for good reason. She told him Kayla was his granddaughter. I blinked. What? Biologically, she said softly. Serena told him. Kayla was his. My mind exploded in a million directions at once. You're saying she and my father? Andrea didn't say anything. She just pushed the envelope closer. My hands were trembling as I opened it. Inside were 2 test results. One proving I wasn't Kayla's father. I already knew that. But the other confirmed a 99.97% match between Kayla and my father. I couldn't breathe. I stumbled backward like someone had physically hit me. No, I whispered. No, that can't be. That's not possible. It is, Andrea said. He confessed everything to me. Told me how ashamed he was. That it started during one of Serena's separations. You'd had a bad fight. He was drinking more. She came to him for comfort. He never forgave himself. But he also couldn't let you raise her without protection. That's why he made the trust. That's why he chose me. To make sure she was taken care of. Just not by you. I dropped the papers. My vision blurred. My thoughts shattered. My wife had slept with my father. Conceived a child with him. Lied to me for nearly a decade. And my father, who I spent my life trying to make proud, let me raise his child without saying a word. I was nothing more than a stand-in. A convenient fiction. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. Andrea looked down. Because Serena knows you found the will. She called me from jail yesterday. Said if you didn't back off, she'd leak everything. She was bluffing, but it won't stay hidden forever. You deserve to hear it from someone who doesn't want anything from you. My body felt numb. I thanked her somehow and she left. I don't remember what I did for the next hour. Maybe I just sat there. Maybe I screamed. I honestly don't know. But when I came to, Kayla was home. She walked in, backpack swinging, eyes bright. Hey Daddy, she said and threw her arms around me. I held her tighter than I ever had. You okay? She asked, looking up. I nodded. Yeah, baby. Just a hard day. Want me to make you tea like you do for me when I'm sad, she said. I laughed and it cracked something inside me. That'd be perfect. That night I watched her sleep. This child who wasn't mine by blood but who I'd raised with everything I had. I whispered, I'm still your dad. No matter what. But I knew the storm wasn't over. The next morning, the headlines exploded. Wife accused of attempted murder, secret love child with husband's father confirmed. Someone had leaked it. Whether it was Serena or someone at the precinct, I'll never know. But it was out. All of it. The media camped outside my house. Reporters swarmed the school. I pulled Kayla out immediately and drove 6 hours to my sister's place in Vermont. Serena called the house line 3 days later. From jail. I let it ring. She called again. And again. Finally, I answered. You ruined us, she said. And I'm still standing, I replied. But for how long, she whispered. You're alone now, Marcus. Everyone knows. You think they'll let you raise her after this? I didn't respond. I just hung up. Blocked the number. 2 weeks passed. Then 3. I met with my lawyer. Filed for full custody. Submitted evidence including a signed statement from Andrea. I wasn't backing down. Kayla was my daughter even if the world said otherwise. And then a month later I got a package. No return address. Inside was a single photo. A man standing in front of a brick building in rural Montana. My father. Alive. The photo was dated 2 days ago. It came with a note. He faked it. He's still out there. And she knew. I stared at the photo, stunned. My father was alive? He'd faked his death? Or been helped? By who? Why? And what did Serena really know?